trail because I've run many of these trails around the world, and if I'm honest, this is probably the best marked, the best looked after. The huts are amazing. You guys do a wonderful job. You should give yourselves a round of applause for doing such a great job. The support has been fantastic from Robert and the other people that came out to meet me on the trail. Not just from the friends of the Heysen, but also from people from all around Adelaide, runners and non-runners alike. I've been out, and if it's just for a quick handshake or a quick donation to our charity, it's been overwhelming. It's amazing. I just don't know where these people come from. Come out of the woodwork. Look, it was as you guys know, you've been out there. It's an amazing trail, right across its entire length. And I guess this thing that people, I guess walkers often say to me, you must miss a lot because you're running. And no, I just see more in one day. I just see so much. I see the landscape change within the morning, and that's kind of incredible. To see it change so quickly. It is so diverse out there. It's incredible. I think, if I'm honest, it was probably a little bit tougher than I originally thought. I don't know why, when you hear the word range, you think that's potentially flat. I don't know why that came into my head, but it definitely has its challenging moments. Robert did ask me if I fell over. I did fall over. I've also learned to speak French while I was out there as well. A lot of times, like that. Particularly on those dry creek beds and those river beds and through the gorges and stuff. That's tough going for a runner. I've done those kind of things before, but they're always a challenge. Always frustrating. Look, I guess the biggest question people ask me is why. Why would somebody want to go and do that? Within 2 weeks, to put themselves through 2 marathons a day or 85 kilometres a day through that kind of environment, and it's a question I struggle to answer. I still ask myself that same question every day, particularly when I'm out there and going, why? Why would I want to do this to myself? And I guess the last kind of 6 months before coming into this particular project, I've sat down with a bunch of psychiatrists. Most people think that's quite fitting, but you bloody should. To try and figure out why I do what I do. Why I go and take these huge challenges on these trails around the globe. And quickly what I've learned is that it's not really about the why, because the why is so different for everybody. And I guess you guys in this room are all trying to head towards a common goal, but your reasons for doing that are all so different. The reasons why you're here tonight are so different. And your why changes weekly, daily, monthly. Mine changes by the minute at times when I'm out there on the trail. So yeah, the why is hard. But I think the better answer to that question is how. How does the everyday guy, and believe it or not, I am an everyday guy. I say to people, I'm not Superman. I'm just this everyday guy. How does he go out there and achieve something kind of monstrous in a sense? And that's what I've tried to show in those mini documentaries. Did any of you guys see in those little snippets of video we kind of put out? So if you've not seen those, I recommend you do. We put 2 of those out, first 5 days, then the 10-day mark, and the last one's just been released now. It's just been put online. So kind of gives a bit of an insight into my headspace and the thoughts and the things that go on. But I guess, look, I'll just open up some questions to you guys. What's some of the things that arise? Be it about me, be it about the trail. Someone asked, is it easy to follow? I think it was yourself who asked. And it is. You guys are doing a fantastic job. You could almost do that trail without a map. I wouldn't suggest anyone did that, but you could. It's well trodden, and it's marked in both directions, and it really is nice, easy to try to follow.
So what time did you start and finish then?
So I was averaging 12 hours a day. So I was starting at 6:30 a.m. and then finish up obviously at 6:30 p.m. And that was challenging because of the light. It was getting dark at 5:30 here in Adelaide then, and every day we were added a minute. So by the time I was finished, it was an extra 15 minutes, of darkness. Hence why on that kind of last leg, I kind of did a bit more in the dark that night across the Flora Peninsula, just to try and bite off a bit more mileage. So there's some long days, but I'm used to that kind of stuff. And it's not so bad for me, believe it or not. It's worse for the team because they're up before me and they go to bed after me, and in between that, it's all about me. So they're just exhausted. They don't really get time to sleep. You know, they're always preparing things for me. You know, the whole project's about me. It's kind of self-centered, really.
What a good idea.
Richard, my question was, you were talking about why, was how do you do it? Like, but my claim to fame amongst me, I'm a legend in my own lunchbox sort of thing. I walk for 100 k's in 24 hours.
Wow, congratulations.
But that was minuscule. Well, that was 14 years ago when I started the trail. I still haven't finished. But how did you manage to bound down those steps? I saw you on the Channel 7 News and on the YouTube thing with a smiling face, but still, I was crawling by the time I finished my little bit. I know I wasn't stretching, and I don't know all the things that you know about keeping your body in trim. But are you superhuman, or is it just what a regular person can do with how many years of training?
Well, I think a regular person can do anything if they want to do it. I think that's what it comes down to. You have to want to do it. You know, and I always say to people, for instance, that might want to lose some weight. They come to me and say, "I'm going to start running," and I say, "Why?" I say, "To lose weight." But I hate running, they'll say. I said, "Well, why choose running then?" It's going to be very difficult to do that, to lose weight. If you like to dance, if you like to play tennis, go and do that. It's very easy to get out of bed and go and do that. So I guess first of all, there's that want. There's the want to do it. And then I've got this ability, I think, to put my mind in a place that's, let's say it's a comfortable room with a nice couch and a cup of tea. And I stay in that room until the whole trip is over. Now that doesn't mean that I don't go through all those painful moments and bad times, but it just means that my headspace is always in a good place. And I think that's why you see me smiling a lot. I'm very outward with that as well. I'll be talking to other people. I'll ask the team how they're going. If I met with other walkers out there, I'd ask how their trip was going. And I think by doing that, it doesn't put the emphasis on me, and therefore I don't feel those things perhaps I should feel. But yeah, it becomes a point on these trips where it's purely mental, because the body's not designed to do 85 or 2 marathons a day over that kind of terrain. You know, it's a real effort and a struggle.
I assume you must have come across the N2M9 group on the last day down near Cape Jervis.
I did. That was a big group too. There was a lot of high fives. I had a sore hand and I did feet by the end of it.
Well, I was hoping that you were going to do that when we met you a couple of weeks ago, because to me that would have been just when you needed it. There was going to be these people starting out and you were going the other way, but you'd done it. How, did that give you something, or had you already close enough to the end that you were over your doubts and all that anyway?
Well, you're over your doubts, certainly by that stage. You know that it's funny because often before I even start the trip, in my own mind it's done. I don't think about how it's going to be. I feel like I think about what it's going to be like now it's finished. Am I going to be here, speak to you guys? Am I going to be telling other people? And how's the Channel 7 News going to go? And I'm thinking about those things, not necessarily how the trip's going to go. So yeah, in my own mind, it's already been done. I'm just playing it out now. But yeah, I mean, certainly when you meet people and you tell them what you're doing, and they go, "Oh my God, congratulations, that's amazing." Of course, it inflates your ego. You feel amazing. I think I ran that section pretty quick actually when I saw those people. Like, look at me.
What about your food regime?
It's probably not as technical as people think. Actually, it's it's very straightforward. It's still you kind of your 3 straight meals a day. It's just in bigger quantities. I don't eat any kind of special diet really. I mean, I'm making sure I'm getting my proteins and my vitamins and the carbohydrates and stuff. My whole day is made up of sports nutrition with bars and gels and stuff.
Yep.
If you guys are eating that stuff, the days, it's horrible. It just becomes a fuel source. You know, it's not really about eating. It's just about putting your fuel in and moving. And then at the end of each day, you made all sorts of things, pasta dishes and potato and stews and all sorts of delicious stuff.
Or canned.
Or not delicious, it just tastes delicious all the time.
To be honest, during the day, and I think this is where the mental side of things come in, I'd prepare a smorgasbord of treats at every aid station, and you could just pick what he wanted. It might be some potato chips or a bit of sandwich or a biscuit or something, just something that was enjoyable for him to consume and a little bit of a distraction. That's how I saw it. It wasn't, you certainly didn't need that,
No,
but it was a nice little treat.
But then the answer is a lot. You get a lot
Yeah,
of food.
lots.
Like you wonder where it goes. You just think, geez, I can eat more than that horse in that field. It's incredible.
And have you ever known that you've missed, you haven't had enough to eat and felt the fatigue that comes with that? Or do you tend to just overdo it?
I'll probably overdo it.
Yep.
No, not really overdo it. It's just that I know that I need to have that minimum of 100 calories an hour.
Yep.
And I've got that on me all the time.
Yep.
So it's just constantly just,
Mm.
if you feel like it or not, it just needs to go in.
Yep.
I think the only time you get caught out with like fatigue from not doing the right things with food is when you're not drinking enough. And you notice that. So I
Do
can
you have-
dehydrate.
Do you have trouble hydrating? Like, because the guys that do the Tour de France type of thing, the long distance things, they have trouble just simply taking enough fluid in.
Yeah, I mean, it's up and down to be honest. You never really. Yeah, I mean, some days you just don't drink as much as other days. In fact, this trip's I probably drank more on this trip than I have on any other trip. And I've been to Israel, but it's pretty bloody hot, you know. It's just sometimes it can be an effort, and you just got to force it down yourself. And I'm literally going by how many times I'm going to the toilet out there. If I'm not going to the toilet regular enough, I need to drink more fluids.
You don't get
and even then I
queasy?
need to check it to see if it's clear or if it's yellow.
You don't get queasy in the stomach from drinking so much, or you?
No, I don't think I could drink enough. I
Okay.
don't think it'd be, almost impossible for me to guzzle down too much.
And what about the aftermath? You know, on your body, like sore knees, ankles. What is there? A price to
Grumpy.
pay? Grumpy,
Mental.
coming down.
Look, you definitely, I mean, your first day, you know about it. The second day, you really know about it. And then you question yourself, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. And then by the third day, you're kind of just trying to push yourself through a bit more pain, but it's kind of, you kind of get used to it because it's just there. And then I think for the rest of the time, it's just there, and you just become used to it. It's like people who have back pain. I'm sure people in this room have got back pain. You've probably had it for years, and you just kind of live with it. And I think that's kind of what happens out there on the trail. My feet were had swollen up, ankles were swollen up. I was sore, had problems that would come, and then a day later they would go. It's kind of amazing when you just push your body and you just keep demanding more, how it kind of adapts and just changes. And I mean, you guys probably know from your own walks, when you go out there, it's the first day is a bit tough, and then you kind of get in a bit of a rhythm, and you kind of wake up and you feel pretty good, you know. And it's the same kind of thing. It just, I mean, it's a little bit different, but it's a bit, yeah. It's
What
amazing.
about coming down after them, like this week?
Yeah, that's what
Horrible
I meant with the
finish.
grumpy
Yeah,
comments.
yeah.
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 And it's not really the day after, it's the day after the day after.
Yeah.
So yesterday was my real bad day, yeah. You don't really know who you are, or you're not particularly excited, you're not sad, you don't know if you're hungry or you're not. You don't know if you want to watch television or you want to go for a walk. It's
Probably
really
wanna go-
hard, you don't know
your
what you
body's
want to
telling
do.
you want to go for a run, probably.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, yeah, you know. And all sorts of different things kind of, it's different, you know, everything's different. Obviously I'm still eating, but it's kind of like craving sort of bad foods, you know, because I've been eating so many lollies and chips in the last 2 weeks. It's kind of like, my body goes, I want lollies, I don't want chips. You go, well, this is the worst time to eat lollies and chips because I've been doing nothing, you know. So,
If you set a tempo that varies only according to the terrain, or if it gets flat, do you flog yourself in flat and easy? I mean, or if it's easy going.
well, easy going's harder for me. So when the going's flat and easy, and I had a day like that, where there's like, I only did 65 kilometres, I think, up to,
It was not Tanunda.
yeah, it was Tanunda.
The wine region.
Oh, right through the Barossa.
Yeah, I remember you said
Yeah.
you can see I was struggling on the track that day.
It's flat and he only did 65.
Yeah, sometimes with flat terrain, it's
Every step's the same.
yeah, there's that, and I think mentally you know that you can do the distance with this flat. So you can go at any moment. I could probably pick up the speed and just get this done. And with that becomes this kind of not wanting to go, complacency with it. Yeah, if you give me 80 kilometres of big rugged mountain range, then you kind of you know you have to just get on with it. Otherwise, you're going to be out there and it's dark, and cold and horrible. So you kind of push yourself more. So yeah, sometimes the flatter terrain's hard, but there's a kind of a set speed. Yeah, it's not. And you said it, like the terrain dictates my day and how it's going to go. You know, if it's like this all day versus like that all day, it's a big difference.
The rationale for starting in the north then?
the harder stuff first.
Right.
Yeah, or at least in my mind, I saw that kind of dry creek bed stuff and that kind of more demanding.
Yeah.
What would you think of deep creek down the bottom of the Foorup Peninsula? Some of that can be a bit tough.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Last
It
night.
was kind of nothing compared to what happened the days before, if I'm honest. Yeah, I mean, it's... yeah, I mean, that's... yeah, I mean, that's pretty much nothing down there. But not nothing, it's tough going, but it's, it's all relative, isn't it? It's kind of...
Well, you enjoyed seeing the ocean, you said, and you saw whales and dolphins.
Saw whales, saw
Saw
dolphins.
whales.
Oh, well done.
Actually, it's funny. We had a guy come and run that last section with me, and we got onto the beach and running on the beach. I said, "What's that big fin there?" There's a whale, just 100 metres offshore. Some
Wow.
stops, some pictures. We're so lucky to see this. And we run to the end of the beach, and there's a whole school of dolphins jumping out of the water. It's unbelievable. Some more fins taking pictures. And we climb up over to the next beach, and I said, "Wow, there's some more fins in the water. I can't believe it." So the other guy gets his camera out, he's taking pictures. And as we get closer, it's just 4 surfers. It's like, whoops, look at my whales.
Among the sharks.
And Elizabeth said you counted some plovers, so hooded plovers down
Yeah, I
there?
did,
Oh.
yeah.
Wow.
And she was kind of surprised that I read the signage and stuff. It's like, no, you have to read signs. Like, I forgot to read a sign in Israel once, and it said this is like an army training zone. And I was chased by a tank. So it's kind of like, you remember to start reading signs.
And then you sign all the logbooks.
Sign of the logbooks.
Oh, you signed all the logbooks?
The ones
Most of
that were
them.
there, yeah.
Yeah, because I heard from someone that had seen your entry in one of the logbooks. I didn't realise you stopped and signed them all.
Yeah, I always stop to sign a logbook.
Oh, terrific.
Because I know it's kind of history, like it goes somewhere. It gets put in a file somewhere.
So what's next for you, Richard?
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, well, yeah, right.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not like I sit there with a big map and go, oh, that. I look at stuff and go, that Japan kind of appeals to me. It's appealed to me for a long time. Different places around the world appeal to me, but it's never those ones that come to me. It's almost like these trails pick me. Somehow, I don't really know how. I mean, sometimes I wish I didn't. But it's almost like they come to me, isn't it?
Israel happened because Rich got on the cover of a magazine that ended up in Israel in the lap of the marketing manager of the company of the backpack that Rich was wearing on the cover of the magazine. They said, "Are we sponsoring you?" Rich said, "No. Would you like to?" They said, "Yes." He goes, "Have you got any long trails in Israel?" They said, "Yes, we do." He said, "Okay, sponsor me to come over and I'll run
Yeah,
one."
that's a good place.
So it was kind of
Yeah.
meant to be.
Just happens
And I
like
came
that.
here for a conference last year and how did we know about the Heysen?
I knew of it. I mean, I know of most of the trails in Australia for obvious reasons. But we went out for a run up at Marialta, yeah, with a friend, and I saw the markers there. He goes, "Oh, this is the Heysen." I said, "Oh yeah, I've looked at it before." So, you know what? I think I'll just commit to that now. Let's do that. That's just pretty much how it happened.
And where did the 14 days come from?
Do you remember the 14 days come from?
Why did we say 14 days?
Because it sounded big.
No, because that's all I could take off work.
Oh, 14 days.
Like, if you can get it done in 14 days, I'm in.
Have you done any stuff at altitude?
Yeah, well, I did the Tiararua Trail in New Zealand.
Okay.
So most that starts in the very north of the North Island and then finishes at the southern tip of the South Island, around there, mountain range. And so there's some 3,000 metre peaks and stuff there. Very challenging. Sometimes you're in the snow line, waist deep, avalanche zones with no equipment. It's kind of dangerous stuff.
Yep.
That really is a wilderness trail, though. It really is kind of.
Someone just died on the trail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, before some of these long distance trails, I ran the Everest Marathon, which starts at base camp. So that was kind of high altitude stuff.
Well, again, legend in the lunchbox. I was doing a walk around up there, and we were all reflecting on how clever we are. And there were these, suddenly out of nowhere appeared intermittently these guys running the bloody marathon through the, just surreal, we this is a been one of the greatest achievements of our lifetime, and these people running the bloody thing. And in different places they had little groups of people waiting for them to clap them through. And they'd walked up, you know, the bloody the track to the
the two-week acclimatisation walk.
And just
So how many pairs of shoes did you get through?
Oh, 2, but we only did 1 pair really. Yeah.
And your running shoes gripped on all those river rocks, all right?
Yeah, mainly. Trail running shoes are, I mean, they're still a running shoe, but I guess they're more designed to move laterally. You know, as a road running shoe is made for that forward motion. If you take that on a trail, it tends not to last very long. But also a trail shoe's obviously got a lot more grip. They try and use sticky type of rubbers to grip onto stuff. So yeah, plenty of traction and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, until you slip and then you go rock bloody shins.
Just perhaps to finish off, what about sleeping arrangements? Like you did have rests overnight, and how was that?
Yeah, so we camped and we stayed in some of the huts too. So
we stayed in 2 huts. We camped and we stayed in a couple of hotels.
Yeah, we did. So
like pubs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's what I've learned from some of the other things I've done is that you really need to sleep on the trail. Even though it might be 10 minutes to somebody's house or 10 minutes to a hotel or 10 minutes to a campsite, that 10 minutes is sometimes crucial. I could have been eaten and slept within that 10 minutes. You know, if you go off and you've got to go 10 minutes early, and it becomes a real rigmarole of stuff. So this time around, we really tried to stay on the trail. So we camped where we could, and if we were in a little town, then we'd jump in the local pub. And then you got some amazing huts with the old schoolhouse there. Brian. Yeah. Glad you remember the names because I can't remember. And where did we stay? The old shearers' quarters.
Yeah, at the Dutchman's.
Dutchman's.
That was great.
Yeah.
Sure, it's
Yeah, some amazing places. You know, even places I didn't stay at. You just have a quick look and go, wow, you know.
Just quickly, are you in touch with your crew all the day or frequently or what?
We would meet Rich quite frequently. In the first few days in the Flinders Ranges, he'd go up to 35 kilometres without seeing us,
Right.
Which could be up to 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
As we got further south, we tried to meet him between every 6 and 10 kilometres, and when we could, if we could drive on the trail, if it was on a road, we'd take his backpack, put it in the car, and either drive right next to him or meet him every 2 to 5 kilometres, just depending how he was tracking. If he was particularly tired, I'd stay with him. If he was tired and grumpy, I'd meet him every few kilometres and just leave him to it. Not so much grumpy, but if he wasn't in that headspace, you know, he's better to be left alone, I think. So
Yeah.
we played it by ear, and it was. I think that's the thing with supporting someone, as probably you guys would know. With the walk, sometimes people they need a bit of nurturing, other times they're best just let them do their thing. Yeah.
But no, what a wonderful trail, guys. You dare to say you do a great job. It's a real testament to you all. I think, you know, it's beautiful. Obviously, you don't have much to do with that.
It's well organised.
It's organised. It's tailored. There's lots of information. Lots of great updates. The books are fantastic. And you know, the people who go and walk this trail have got it all. You know, it's there. So.
But it's well known within South Australia. Everybody knows the Heysen Trail. That's incredible.
We do
That's really
do
good.
our bit, and we're pretty good in South Australia, but it's getting that knowledge out to the rest of Australia, and then especially overseas, to bring some of these other people over to experience what you've experienced.
Well, let's hope we've done that. And I've actually I'm on the channel.
You're on ABC Radio National tomorrow. Weekend sunrise on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Channel 10.
Morning show.
Morning show next Thursday. So
Thursday next week.
we'll keep you guys in the loop.
Oh,
Good
good.
to do that. So it gets the name out again, which is great. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with yes. Thank you for the talk. Now we've had a bit of a consultation through our council, and in consideration of the exposure you've given us, and the fact that you're doing this not just for yourself, but you've got this charity behind you, the Red Dust Role Models, that you're promoting and getting funding in for. On behalf of the Friends of the Heysen Trail, I'd like to present you with $250
Oh, wow.
towards your fundraising.
That's fantastic.
We
Thank you.
were
Thanks,
going to
guys.
do a
Really kind of you,
check,
thank
but
you.
I think the easiest thing to do is we'll put that
Just put a
directly
tab in the
into-
bar, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Spend it half an hour.
Meeting closed.
That's great, it's fantastic. It's really
We'll get
kind
that
of you guys.
into the internet online donation
That's
page
fantastic.
and
We
put that
appreciate
against
that.
our numbers.
That's great, yeah.
So, yeah. So
Are you
thank
guys all aware of that charity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it until
Until now?
doing the
It is a
research.
great one, yeah.
And we're
Well,
very,
I've sent some information out about
Thank you.
Awesome,
you
thank
coming
you.
today.
Thank you,
and
it's very
so
kind.
it's through a few links.
No, I appreciate that. That's fantastic. Thanks, guys. Really good.
we've
Yeah.
really pushed with the charity, as we always do, we've really pushed the awareness, not the fundraising. The fundraising is wonderful, and if that happens, that's great, but for us, it's about the awareness. And particularly in where we're from in Melbourne, there's not much knowledge about Indigenous issues. So for us, it's important to get that out.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thanks.
I'm sure the charity will be wrapped. I'm sure they'll contact you too.
All right. So thank you very much.
Thank
No, you're welcome.
You can stick around and listen to our boring meeting if you like, but I'd suggest you probably.
They're all saying no. No one wants to be here.
We're up to
a bit like Richard getting up in the morning. I've heard him interviewed, and they're saying, well, you know, they say, well, how do you do it? He says, well, it's just, I don't want to get up and run in the mornings. He said, it's just like anybody going to work or whatever. We don't want to get up and do
No one
it.
wants to
But
get
it's
up.
just- it's what we've set our mind to do, and so we get up and get on with it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. You know, it's just doing it anyway. Just doing it anyway.
Should I get a quick photo review with everyone?
Can we do that? Is that good night? You guys got time?
Well,
Take a picture?
if you're happy with that.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Now,
Not sure about this bloke.
No. Perhaps we'll take it over that wall there then. You for background.
First meeting, I'm getting the photo.